I'm going, that guy just spit on your car, sir. He says, happens all the time. I don't know what it is. We were selling Maybachs, and we had the Maybach showroom. We invested everything that we had into this Maybach showroom. We had a couple Maybachs there. When we got the first original cars, it's kind of shocking at how big they were. Plus, in our neck of the woods, they've always called Seattle, Bellevue, kind of a Norwegian under key, keep it low key, even though you have a lot of money, you don't want to show it and that type of thing. So it was a really hard car to sell up there because you just didn't have the wealth. I remember as a lot boy back in the early 70s, taking one guy downtown Seattle in his Rolls Royce, and we're in front of the Four Seasons in the crosswalk, and the guy's walking across the crosswalk and spits on his car. I'm going, that guy just spit on your car, sir. He says, happens all the time. I don't know what it is. But anyway, back to the Maybach. So Jimmy was driving one as a demo. We had a couple others and stuff like that. We didn't really sell that many of them. Maybach had asked the dealer in San Francisco to do a roadshow for the dealers that didn't have Maybach. And they wanted us to take it on the road to a couple different dealerships. And they weren't willing to do it, but we were the next closest one other than LA, and they wanted to do Oregon, and they wanted to do Utah. And so we said, okay, yeah, sure, we'll do that. Myself and Mark, another Mark, who was the GSM before me, we decided to do the Maybach show. And all we had to do was to fly down to Oregon and fly down to Salt Lake City. They did a great job in Oregon. They had the showroom all closed off with curtains on the windows, made it like a real show, had a car undercover. They had a car outside for test driving. They invited all their high-end clients. And Nike was right down the street. So this is another very influential company and a lot of sub-companies around that area. And of course, the University of Oregon's just right down the street too. They go out for a test drive with one of their really good customers. He had a bunch of SL55s, had an SLR, and they took it out and they drove it. And this guy comes back and he is so excited, so excited. He says, I can't believe that this car, I can take my Ferrari down around that corner and it'll lean into the corner. This car is flat out stable. I don't know what they've done to it, but at full speed, this car is better than a Ferrari. He says, I want this car. I'll be back tomorrow for it. And so, next day we go back to clean up everything and all like that. Forgot about that one key thing, the spouse. Came in, tail tucked between his legs. She says, I have too many cars now. I need to get rid of something, and I don't really want to get rid of anything. I really like the car, but I can't take delivery of it. But he was so excited about that car. That was one great thing about the Maybach. It drove unbelievable. Nobody even knew about how fast it would drive and how well it drove. So that was a great show. But the other big show was in Salt Lake City. So we flew into Salt Lake City. We get to the dealership. They've already shipped 2 cars of this. They shipped 57 short wheelbase and the long wheelbase. I get there and David, who's the GM there, he goes, well, we got the cars and we've got some people coming and they have all these boxes. They're in the conference room. You want to go take a look at them? I said, well, what are all the boxes? He says, I don't know. They're all addressed to you. And so I go in there and there's boxes all over the table. And I start cutting them open. And there's Maybach golf balls, sleeve of 3. There's Maybach hats. There's Maybach keychains. There's Maybach model cars. There's all these. And there's like a ton of this stuff all over the place. And I go, what am I supposed to do with this? Well, apparently you're supposed to hand it out. I talked to the Maybacher. He says, yeah, you're supposed to hand it out. He says, well, you get gift bags. He says, get some gift bags. And I go, gift bags? Where am I going to get gift bags? And I go, David, where do you get gift bags? He goes, I don't know. I called my wife in Seattle and I said, where would you get gift bags? She says, well, go to the dollar store. So I hop in the car and I tell Mark, I said, Mark, we got to get gift bags. He says, I'll let you do that. He says, I've got a massage coming up at the hotel. And I go, really? So I get in the rental car, my Ford Fusion or whatever it was, and I start driving around Salt Lake City, finding dollar stores that I'd looked up the addresses, and I go in and I start buying all these cheesy gift bags and tissue paper. And I get back to the dealership and I'm throwing together, and they lend me one of the gals from the office to help me put these gift bags together. And we get, probably 100 gift bags. I go back, I get cleaned up, come across the street for the show. Yeah, they invited a few people. It was like 1,000 people showed up for this thing. And it was every big person in Salt Lake City and the surrounds, and they're all waiting, and this guy walks in, and he's about 6'6", and he is just decked out like J.R. Ewing. He's got the 10-gallon hat, he's got the ostrich boots, he's trim, he's fit, probably in his 60s, his Western cut jacket is just absolutely perfect. And on his arm is the best looking 29-year-old Eastern European woman you could ever want. And he walks in and he goes over and he talks to David. And David comes over and he says, hey, he wants that car on the showroom floor. I go, okay, great. He says, yeah, but here's the key. He doesn't want anybody sitting in it. Well, wait a minute. You've got like 1,000 people coming to this thing. And you're not going to have a car for them to sit in? They have one outside to test drive. They have one on the showroom floor. He says, you don't understand. This is one of our best customers ever. He doesn't want anybody sitting in the car. Okay, well, let's swap the cars, bring the one from outside in. There just won't be any test drives. And we put the car in the back and locked it up. And we had the show that night. It was great. There were a ton of people there. I met the guys who own one of the largest trucking companies in the United States, big companies, all these wonderful people, great show. They ended up selling another one after it. But the next day we were told, okay, well, you've got to deliver the car. Mark, you're the salesman, you know the car, you deliver it. Okay, well, we hop in the car and Mark drives, and we drive south of Salt Lake City all the way out into the middle of nowhere. And we drive to this guy's house, and we drive up, and it just looks like a regular one-story, three-bedroom Rambler with a garage on the end. Well, what we didn't see was it was on the side of a hill, and the house went down about 3 more stories. Plus, there was on the side of it was a building that was attached that was the size of a NBA basketball court. We went in there, and we walked down the stairway, and there was every dead animal, I think, on the planet Earth that this guy had shot on the walls everywhere. Big game hunter from all over the world. We delivered that car that day, and what he was into multi-level marketing, and he had just discovered China. And so his business was just absolutely out of this world, with all these Chinese women buying cosmetics and selling them to their friends and stuff. And that's how that story is. So the car was pulled out from underneath our feet at the last minute, just before the show. Fortunately, we had one other car.
Over the last 4 years, we've partnered with Glossit to show off some of their amazing detailing products, give you some great deals, and show how much they can transform any car. But did you know that Glossit University is also one of the most amazing online resources for education, mentorship, and coaching for whatever your business is in the detailing space? Whether you do paint correction, ceramic coating, PPF, wraps, anything like that, they can take your business to the next level. And right now, they're offering free 15-minute phone consultations where you can schedule at the link in the description below. Tell them about your goals, tell them about your business, about yourself, and really where you want to get to, and they'll show you if they're online courses, they're in-person classes where I'll actually be in their August class, or they're one-on-one or group mentorship programs with Rich Light from Glossit. It's an awesome way to take your business to that next level. So set up your phone consultation now, talk to them about where you're at today, and they'll tell you where you could be tomorrow.